Okay. I'm somewhat centered here. How are you guys? Welcome, everybody. If you can let me know if you can hear me all right. You could let Paul know if you can hear me all right. That would help a lot. And we can go ahead and get started here in just a second.
We got highs and hellos. How are you? Loud and clear.
Okay, very good. So we have Paul, my lovely assistant here. Thank you, Paul, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Paul will be taking your questions. So welcome. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium and a Taino Airwalk. And I own a school called the Ivy League Psychic Academy where I train people in self-development, spiritual development, energetic development, all kinds of things ranging from psychic mediumship to, tarot and astrology, Reiki, everything in that vein. And one of the things that I started doing many years ago was a show. Thank you so much. I have many coffees. I will be very happy for a long time. So one of the things I started to do quite a long time ago was a show very similar to this show where I could take extra questions that I never seem to have time to get to. The public has all of these really great questions, my clients and students, all of these great questions, but they seem to not always fit into curriculum or the allotted appointment time, and that's what Ask Ivy is. This is an opportunity to talk about the deeper meaning in life, the things that you find curious, the things that you have a lot of repeat trouble with, those misunderstandings about the way the universe operates and the way spirit operates. What is your life purpose? All types of things like this. So we'll be discussing those questions, and it's really more like an advice show. So I'll give whatever help and guidance I can in those areas as we go forward. Now, I do want to give a minute to let a few people log in. So while we're doing that, I want to invite you to check out In Trial Times. My other show is called Ask a Medium. And that's where I take your psychic and mediumistic questions about anything going on in your personal life where you need some type of guidance. Well, this In Trial Times show is a special Ask a Medium exclusively on YouTube and exclusively for essential workers, those suffering with job loss or the loss of loved ones due to COVID. Okay, that's going to be on Friday, May 1st at 8 p.m. So please do spread the word. This is a way for me to be able to give back to those people, give them the time and attention that they desperately need right now. And if you are an essential worker, you can ask anything. It doesn't have to be about your job. If you want to leave all that behind and forget about all of this for a while, this is a great place to do that. So we are going to honor you during that time. We also have at 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube, which is going to happen in just about a minute. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm taking the Ask a Medium show and the Ask Ivy show, and I'm merging them. We are rebranding under Ask Ivy, but it will actually be a merging of both shows, taking all kinds of questions and giving your horoscopes weekly. All right, so when does that actually start, Paul? The very next upcoming show will actually, I'm sure, will be at 1,000. So what is that?
Yeah, the next Ask Ivy, the good one, the new one?
Yes.
That is Monday, May 18th.
Monday, May 18th. Okay, so there you go. All right, so the title might look a little bit different, but nothing has been taken out. We have just combined is all. I also want to invite you guys to pick up tickets my online, 100% virtual gallery show where I take a question from each one of the audience members. It's exactly like all of the public shows that I do, only we get to be home in our PJs with our coffee. My next virtual gallery show is Saturday, May 9th at 8 p.m. Now, that did sell out early last time, so you're going to want to get your tickets now. Is that link above?
Yes.
I'm sure Paul put that in there. We also have a free mini class with Q&A series that I've been putting on once a week for the quarantine, called the Quarantine Series. And we have, I think, 6 or 7 mini classes up already on YouTube. Check them out if you haven't. But the ones that are coming up are going to be My Ears Are Ringing, Why Are My Ears Ringing, and Other Physical Cues that your intuitive intelligence is increasing. That's on May 2nd at 8 p.m. And then we have another one coming up called The Still Small Voice, how to know when you're hearing from the light and how to better tap into what those messages are. That's going to be on May 6th at 8 p.m. Well, it looks like we have quite a few people logged in. Do we want to get started?
Yeah.
Do you have some questions to start rolling with? Okay.
We have a very interesting one to start.
Okay.
It's from Rick Gopal. It says, "Hi, Ivy. What is your opinion on deja vu? One of the theories I've heard is that versions of yourself in multiple dimensions are experiencing the same thing. Just curious to know your opinion."
Okay, so your interpretation of a deja vu is that you are alive as one individual in multiple dimensions. Well, it's funny you bring that up because we actually have a dreams, symbols, and deja vu free mini class as part of the quarantine series coming up here more toward the end of May. So keep an eye out for that. We haven't announced it yet, but I did add it yesterday to the curriculum. Go figure. Right, that's spirit, right on time. So what do I think deja vu is? Well, it's a couple different things. It is understanding that there is a very dynamic amount of synchronicity going on when you are able to recall being somewhere where you have no business being. You've never been there before. You have no logical explanation for why you already know a location, or an encounter with someone else. It can happen a lot with conversations. Oh my God, a conversation just sparks it and you're like, we've talked about this before. We've been here before. I've known you before now. It can happen also as like a dream flashback. So you're in a situation and you all of a sudden recall, it could even be as far back as you being a child, a small child. All of a sudden you're tapping back into this deja vu. So I believe that it is happening for one of two reasons. It is either a really potentially positive situation, meaning it is feeding your life contract, your soul's purpose. You maybe have a dynamic work contract going on with the other people involved in this scenario. It's an opportunity for growth and development in a major way. It is a major piece to the puzzle of your life. Or it could be a major warning that this is also a really significant piece of information, but too many people mistake deja vus for being something really good. Too many people mistake synchronicities for being something really good. Too many people mistake soulmates for being a really great situation. It is not necessarily that. Often a deja vu is tapping in to something critical that you were supposed to be prepared for. And so you may have been told, even again, back when you were a child, this situation is going to happen right around that time. Don't forget to pay attention to the details, incorporate it into your life wisely. Things like this are to be taken seriously and journaled. And I think that you really just have to step back and look at all of the elements, sort of like dream interpretation, which is why I'm including the deja vu mini class with the dream and symbol free mini class, because we have to analyze it in the same way that we would a dream in order to get the full message. Yeah. Oh, could it be? Also, I'm sorry, I always forget what the heck they said. Could it be that you are in other dimensions? For sure. It's not really it's not really always that as much as it is though kind of like time travel. Sort of like time travel. When you were 5 years old, if you saw something happen when you were 40, were you in another dimension? You could say it that way, or you could say that your mind went ahead, but still on the earth plane, Yeah.
Okay, we have another dimensional question.
Okay.
I feel like this is like space-time.
Yeah, it's like, what's that, Star Trek?
Yeah.
Should have worn my green bumps.
Linda Figueroa is asking, can spirit speak to the subject of the fifth dimension? Will we see this ascension in our lifetime? Is it accessible while we're in our physical bodies or only after death?
Yes, I don't get too tied up in all of that because it's nothing more. The things that go on to me when I think of the higher dimensions are the same. It's the same amount of positive energy and insight that we could tap into by going to the right side of our brain. So instead of talking about all this travel or this meditation to other dimensions or where else can we go, we were meant to create. It's sort of like the biblical saying of creating heaven on earth or tapping in through right thinking. Okay, these other planes where we are working with positive energy versus these lower level dimensions or lower level negative energy or ego or left brain logical thinking exclusively, or that's us being reactionary. Okay, we want to move beyond all of that. And that doesn't require anything more than us shifting to the right side of our brain and accessing that intuitive information, which is spirit communication, it's information about the future, it's information about the past. We just answered the last question. We were talking about time travel and how I sort of see time travel and other dimensions as sort of being like interchangeable. It's all available. Now, we create that, here on Earth by being willing to really work from that space. But most people aren't. Most people aren't educated on how to shift to the right side of the brain. Most people aren't educated on how to hold steady in the right side of the brain because it causes vomiting and dizziness and numbness. And people, when they go to the right side of the brain, get misdiagnosed with all kinds of disorders and mental problems. And people are so fearful of being over there that we really aren't utilizing it. We only go left. So we live in a society, we live in a world, let's face it, that is bent on staying left brain. And that's the really toxic element. And how do we bring more of that dimension to Earth? We all shift right. It's right thinking. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's not hard, but we have to do it.
Jamie Lynn Marinaccio.
Okay.
I struggle with feeling a spiritual connection in my day-to-day life. Feel stronger when the sun shines on me or when I'm near bodies of water. How do I know I'm on my spiritual path?
Well, I would recommend that you get a life contract reading with me. We can look at what you came to Earth to do. It's very possible that there are things that you aren't doing that you're supposed to be doing. And we like to think that we can have all the time in the world, but our life contract, everything within your life contract is on a deadline. And if you start to miss those deadlines, if you're not really learning the lessons or completing the tasks that you came to Earth to do, you have a sense of division from the spirit world. It's not that they're never there because you're never abandoned, but it is that you're not taking up full responsibility for your part. And the system between the spirits and the light, the universe, God, living in the way, living within universal law, manifestation techniques, all of this is based on you being a responsible participant. It is not a system of immediate gratification, and it's not a system of enabling. And that's what we see with most human beings, that they're enablers and that we live in a dysfunctional sort of codependent system that's not really based on a lot of truth, and it's not based on these concepts of really pushing or forcing someone to take ownership and be mindful of their energy. We think that that's sort of not our job, right? Or that's off base. That's out of bounds. It's not out of bounds. And the universe functions that way all the time. So if there's something that's amiss within your level of responsibility, activity, lessons, in regards to your life contract, or anything that would have been shown to you that you were supposed to do, that you refused to do, either because you were afraid or you didn't feel like it was the right time, right? Everything's going to break down if you're not doing it. What's going to happen is that slowly you get more and more and more sort of cut off. You feel more detached. And the only way to sort of reconnect is through nature, water, the trees. A lot of people that are super addicted to nature, and they're always like, and I'm not saying this is your situation, I'm just using an example. I'm saying, people that are really, really addicted to nature, and they're all about the crystals and they're all about the stuff. Sometimes I wonder if they're a little detached from spirit because they're not really doing in their lives what they're supposed to be doing, because it shouldn't be that hard to connect. You can become a block in the flow. And it's easiest to look at us first because spirit never abandons. So there's something there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We have an interesting one from Roseanne. She asks, wondering when people die, are they a medium age or the age when they die? Do you see them as old person or young person?
Say that again? When people die, are they
do you see them of a medium age or the age they are when they die? Do you see old people or young people?
Oh, do I see? Mm-hmm. I see whatever they want me to see. So a grandfather could come through. Say I'm doing a group reading. Okay, so I'm reading a whole family. So I've got young people in that family who would only know the grandfather coming through as being old. I've got old people in that audience who would think of him more as being young. I've got maybe his wife who thinks of him as being that, that hunk that he was when she met him, when he was in his 20s, like whatever it is. However they think of him, he will come through and modify it. So he'll be talking to me as an old man because he wants to talk to his young granddaughter. And that's all. That's the only way she would recognize him. And then he'll switch it up. And this is why mediumship is confusing. And you have to know who you're talking to and what you're doing, because it would look like I was talking to 3 different people. But I'm trained enough to understand he's modifying that for a reason. And that is so that they see him that way. What they will also do is to come through looking young, and they will sometimes say to people, if it's going to be a comfort to them, I went back in age. Okay, so this is sort of common among the natives too, to believe that we get to go back. All right, and a lot of people just love that. And if that's going to make them feel great about his passing and happy for him and able to let go and celebrate his life and talk with him more comfortably, and he can communicate better with them, then he's going to bring something like that up. But they often will come through and mention to me maybe their age, but also how they died or what they died from. And often when they do that, it's just for identification, because I could have 4 or 5 other grandfathers coming through and they want to be like, I'm the one who died at 84 years old from a heart attack or something like that. So it really depends on the circumstances. And this is why it's good for people. And this is why I did that video, How to Ruin Your Reading, that free mini class, because so many people come in and they're like, no, that's not him. He looked like this and he was like this. That's not how it goes. It's whatever the individual wants to portray to the sitter. And that could change from person to person. Yeah.
Very good. Linda said, thank you. And Jamie Lynn said, thank you so much. It was extremely helpful.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
These are great questions.
Very hot. They're on fire tonight.
Yeah, you guys are like all about it. Love it.
Okay. Sky Hum.
Okay.
It says, if I sense spirits trying to communicate with me and have medical empathic energy, what are the best ways to protect myself/oneself?
Well, if you're a medical intuitive, that is a different thing. I think of medical intuitive as being someone who can look at a living individual, do a body scan, and then tell them what they have going on physically that's ailing them. You're talking about being clairsentient, I think. If you're clairsentient, which means that you pick up in your body, physical pain. I call them physical impressions. I tell my psychic mediumship students, if you're clairsentient, you constantly have physical phantom impressions in your body from the deceased. If you're getting it from the living, from animals, from an atmosphere, you could walk through maybe a house or something that had a tragic circumstance in it, where someone passed or many people passed, and you would also pick up on that. So we're talking also about empathic ability with you. So when we hit the third and the fourth levels of empathic ability, so I'm going to recommend the empathic awareness training up on the website to you. When you hit those levels, it becomes off the charts. And you have to take that training anyways, just to learn from every angle how you're going to shut it off. Because you're thinking in terms of a spirit wants to communicate with me and I have physical impressions because I'm a medical intuitive. No. You have medical intuitive ability, so you have the ability to see and possibly heal the living. You have clairsentience, which is going to cause you to pick up from the spirit world and others around you, but you have empathic ability, which means you're picking up mental, emotional, physical, from atmospheres, objects, the deceased, and the living. These are different things. So at the core, you have to get them all under control. And the only way to really do that is to learn the proper tools and techniques and to apply them. And that would be the empathic awareness training. Cool. That's a great question, too. Yeah.
Very good. Very helpful.
Good.
TK Truong is asking, are you able to pick up dark energy / paranormal energy if you do a reading via Zoom or Skype, or does it have to be in person?
Okay, that's a great question. How many more? Okay.
Well, 3.
Okay, good. So the question, TK, is, could I pick up negative energy online somehow? Or does the person with the attachment or paranormal problem have to be right there with me? No, they don't have to be there with you. I think it's important to cleanse out daily, especially if we're in front of a lot of technology. You can actually feel someone toxic. Think about this, okay? How many times have you been like, oh, I'm going to check my Facebook account, and you're like, I'm not falling for that today. You could feel yourself getting attacked, right? You could feel negative paranormal activity using the people. People are tools. People are wide open vessels and channels for energy manipulation. That's all we are as human beings. So we are manipulated by positive energies in the universe, and we're manipulated by negative low energies in the universe. And those of us that are manipulated the most and put it into action are those that aren't mindful. They aren't educated on this. They don't know that. So they would think that it's them acting, but in actuality, it could be a paranormal attachment that's working through them. It could be an actual possession that resides within them that comes to the surface and then goes back in. You would notice that their voice would change, their eyes would change, and the level of paranoia, mental instability, things like this would quickly shift back and forth. But when they're through technology, you lose the ability to sort of witness a lot of those physical reactions and changes. So what you have to do when you're dealing with people through technology is just to be on guard in a really different way than you've ever had to be. You have to sort of heighten your alert system. And what I do is I make sure before I call somebody for a reading or I'm going to get online or whatever, I stand back and I just do a little assessment on what's there. And then I know what I'm entering into. But it's no different than I would do if they were coming to my office. So can you pick up on it? Yeah, but you're not going to pick up on all this junk if you make a decision that you're not going to. If you're protecting yourself properly and cleansing regularly, no, you're not going to. But it does require that you be mindful. But that's the same. So in person or through technology, absolutely, it's a problem. I do paranormal consultations, and I would say that that's where my biggest risk is for picking up on other people's junk, is the people who say that they want help with paranormal, but they don't really want to do the work, and they drag the whole problem out. And I only deal with those over the phone.
Sky said thank you so much, and
Good.
Roseanne said thank you.
Good. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are great questions.
Yeah, they really are. These are useful. People need to be safe. We did a cleansing video also. We did a cleansing mini class. You guys could check that out on YouTube too.
We have one from Terry Quick.
Mm-hmm.
Said, I dreamed that I was sitting in a movie theater with my father named Larry, who died when I was 13.
Okay.
He was talking, but I remember you saying something that they don't usually talk. Is it significant?
No, I didn't say that they don't talk. I said their mouths don't move. So they speak, but through telepathy. So we have a couple different kinds of dreams. We break this down in the dreams class, which is coming up here soon. Again, isn't it? But it's also a video download.
Yes, correct.
So we have dreams class coming up. And in dreams class, I break down visit dreams. That's what you're talking about. Was this an actual encounter? Was this a visit? Or was it another category that would fit more into subconscious dreaming? And so we have to look at these and break it down by some fine detail that was there. One of them being, did you really feel like you needed that dream a lot? Is it possible you created it yourself? Because we can trick ourselves into making it look really very real and intimate. But the key factor with an actual visit dream, whether you're doing astral travel or it's just a regular visit dream and they came directly to you on this plane, they will communicate through telepathy. So their mouths don't move.
That was the coffee pot.
Okay. But you will feel just like you're holding a conversation, like as natural as what we're doing right now. Yeah, you might not even notice that it was a little odd. Yeah.
All right. We have one from Karen McClay.
Okay.
She's asking, do you ever channel historical figures or spirits at areas like battlefields? I wonder about Lincoln a lot, as it is said we are supposed to be related to him.
I do. I get hired for gigs like that. So people will hire me to go to their historical location. Or one of the things that we do a lot is, like, I'll do these tours for these historical, like, restoration, nonprofit groups and things like that. And so I've done with, like, Explore Buffalo. I've done, even, like, haunted, but, like,